On today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, should Marvel look at re-releasing Infinity War and Endgame in 2024 since they only have one movie coming out? Also, it's just become official, the start shooting date of the new Rey Star Wars movie, and it's a lot sooner than you think. Is Deadpool 3 maybe making the same mistake that the Marvels made? And the GTA 6 trailer dropped early yesterday, and it looks like Hollywood quality CGI. Oh yeah, and as a little bonus, there's a new documentary coming out today called Disturbance in the Force. We got one of the producers of that film, Kyle Newman, here. That and a whole bunch more. The John Campea Show podcast starts right now. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world. Movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Not just giving you our opinions, but giving you some background and some context so you guys can form your own well-informed opinions, whether they're the same or completely different than ours. Joining me in studio today, we got Ray Ora.
Yep.
Jonathan Voico's here.
These are the droids you're looking for.
The delightful Chris Carr.
Hello.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thanks so much for being here, making the show part of your day. And here's how the show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about those predetermined topics that we listed off. Then in the last part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. We've already asked our beloved YouTube channel members to fire in some topics, but if you guys are watching live right now, you can use the super chat feature in the live chat and fire those in, and we'll get to as many of those as we can at the end of the show. All right, guys, with that down, I want to start off with this. Some of you may remember in Variety and Deadline a while ago, headlines ran that a new documentary was coming out about the infamous Star Wars holiday special called A Disturbance in the Force. Well, it's now out and it's available today. And we are really lucky today to have one of the producers of the movie. You might remember him from directing such films as Fanboys, One Up, the Samuel L. Jackson, Haley Steinfeld film Barely Lethal. Hell, the guy even directed a Taylor Swift video. Our friend Kyle Newman. Kyle, how you doing, sir? Woo!
What's up? Thank you for having me on.
Good to have you here, man. First of all, like before we get into the movie, you've been keeping yourself real busy lately. You guys, on top of all that, you are like the D&D guy. You're the Dungeons and Dragons guy, and you and a bunch of your friends have been putting out a whole bunch of books. You were actually on the show a couple years ago to talk about one of the books that come out. You guys just did a couple more. Can you just tell everybody about those ones you just had put out?
We've got the sequel to our New York Times best-selling cookbook. This is that was called Heroes Feast, and this is the sequel, Flavors of the Multiverse. And there's actually a cooking show based on it right now on Amazon Freevee and Plex, and I'm in all 20 episodes. So they turned it into a cooking show. And then we've got the sequel to our Art and Arcana book. This one's called Lore and Legends.
It's gorgeous.
This chronicles 5th edition D&D, from the ashes of 4th edition up to where we are now. How did it go from 3 million players to 60 million players? What are those phenomena? What made it a phenomenon? What are those cultural things that happened in the past 12 years to really transform this game? So those books are out, and like you said, we're really proud of it. And in the doc space, I'm also co-directing the doc on the history of Dungeons & Dragons for Hasbro, approaching the 50th anniversary next year.
I remember when we covered that on the show when that announcement came out a while ago. We're excited about that. But specifically, we're here to talk about the new project that you're a producer on, Disturbance in the Force. Let me ask you this, like kind of like a broad question, but what is it about that holiday special? Because it's been featured in movies and TV shows. Weird Al even has references to it in his music and his videos quite often. What is it about the holiday special? Because normally if something that people consider bad comes out, it becomes quickly forgotten. Why has the holiday special endured in the pop cultural landscape for so long?
You know what it is? It's that it's taboo. It's that it was pulled from our grasp, never to be released again. Although in Australia, it did air 6 holiday seasons in a row after the initial airing. But the holiday special aired once and then it was gone. And it was almost like it was wiped from our memories. But then Instagram and internet and social media and everything came back. And so people can talk about it and meme about it. And it hasn't been allowed to disappear by fandom. I think people have taken it on like a badge of honor to support it or to watch it. It is a rough watch. It's not so bad it's good. It's just boring and it's mystifying. And one of the reasons for doing it was what you said in your intro. You're here to provide context, and that's what we're here to provide is context. So you can watch this thing in a new light. You can understand why and how it was made. Star Wars did not invent the horrible format that is variety television. Star Wars was just inserted into it at the tail end of variety's dominance on television at a time when you had a few channels and they had to make programming that lasted 2 hours that had to try to appeal to everyone and satisfy ultimately no one. And Star Wars was jammed into this and as a way to keep Star Wars relevant because George is investing all his own money into making Empire Strikes Back and setting up Lucasfilm, and he needs to protect his investment. So he needs to keep Star Wars in the zeitgeist, in pop culture. There's 3 years between movies, and this was a way for him to do it. So he begrudgingly said yes, and they made this nearly 2-hour holiday special, and they thought it was going to be like Rudolph. Frosty air every year, and it aired once and it's gone. So John, I think that's why people are interested in it, because when you hear about it, you're like, wait, they made a holiday special? Wait, rewind, explain this. And all the actors are in this? They all showed up on set and they're in it without guns to their head. So we talked to the writers, the directors, we talked to the dancers, we talked to Bob Mackey, the costume designer, everybody who was involved in this thing. Plus it has that veneer of pop culture analysis, everyone from Weird Al, Patton Oswalt, Paul Scheer, Taron Killam, Seth Green, everyone that, Seth worked with Lucasfilm, worked with George, and he got great insight into George's, thought process in this and allowing it to happen. So all that's in this, and it's a really fun movie in an age where most documentaries are absolutely cynical. Someone has to die, someone has to overdose, billions of dollars have to be lost. Can't we just talk about pop culture in a cool way? And that's what we try to do. And I think that's what these guys pulled off. I mean, kudos to the directors. This is right now sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes with over 30 reviews, audience score through the roof. And it's just a fun, satisfying watch.
What was the genesis of this? How did this whole even project start? Who came up with the idea? What sparked it? What made it interesting to you? The idea of let's go back and revisit this blight on television history. What was the impetus for that?
Yeah. The interesting thing for me was that this was a period of Star Wars and Lucasfilm history that's rarely talked about. It's forgotten, sometimes choiceably forgotten. And you're watching the genesis. It's like Lucasfilm 1.0. One of our interviewees says it's before it was a fully formed entity. So they don't talk about it a lot. We get into the origins of how Star Wars was marketed. All of this stuff was fascinating to me, that Charlie Lippincott, who was PR for Lucasfilm, basically invented a new way to market movies, which we still market movies this way now. We go to conventions in advance. Yeah. We seed it out. We do comic books. We do magazines. We do anything we can to build up the momentum. And this was kind of unheard of at the time, especially a year in advance, putting out a novel, putting out Marvel issues. So we get into all that. But Steve Kozak, one of the co-directors, his father was Bob Hope's manager or agent. And so he knew all these old TV luminaries and B. Arthur and all these people that we felt we could get access to. And Steve then started that process of tracking these people down and lining them up. And that's when I got on board at an early stage. As soon as I heard Star Wars Holiday Special and Doc, I said, I'm in. I want to do anything to help document Star Wars. Like I've been doing with Dungeons and Dragons, I want to do this as much as I can with Star Wars, especially lost moments in Star Wars history. So it's Adam F. Goldberg, from the Goldbergs, Muppet Mayhem. He's exec producer. And we all just came on board because we loved it and we wanted to bring it to life.
I want to throw this in kind of as a side thing here. On your IMDb, you have listed as an upcoming project, an untitled vigilante project. And it says it's in pre-production, at least that's what it's listed as. Is that happening? Is that actually in motion? Where would you find the time?
No, it's not in pre-production right now. It's something I'm writing, actually.
Okay.
It's like a deconstruction of the vigilante superhero genre. It's almost like, I think we're done with superheroes in many ways. I've been working on this thing for 10 years. I was waiting for the time to be right. A movie like Unbreakable is way ahead of its time. This is like another look at hero identity, the way we would actually process it if something was real. It's almost like if you mix Spotlight and Nightcrawler and Citizen 4 and a little bit of Daredevil in a blender.
I now remember you and I had dinner in Burbank a while ago, and you started telling me about this project. I think this is the one you were telling me about. And if so, I'm very excited about it.
I'm still working on it
at the time.
And I'm working on something else right now too, that I'm writing to direct. And there's other things I'm casting. I don't know what's going to be next for me. I'm still in post on the Dungeons and Dragons feature doc for Hasbro and E1. So that's taking up the focus right now, getting this thing into the world, and then we'll see what happens kickoff next year.
Well, listen, Disturbance of the Force is now out. If people, and I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this right now, they're going to go and check this out. Like you see
it's
right now,
awesome.
100%
I'm
of
not
Rotten
lying.
Tomatoes, 100% audience score.
Hilarious.
Where can people go and watch this right now?
They have it on Apple. They have it on Google. They have it on Vudu. They have it on Amazon. It's VOD right now. We'll announce our streaming partner probably early next year. There'll be something coming out maybe May the 4th-ish. But for now, the only place to get it, rent or own it, is on those major platforms. And you can also, the Blu-ray has been like the #1 selling doc for the past 2 weeks on Amazon. Blu-ray and DVD, physical media. So if you're into that, it's beautiful. It's got a great poster. It's got a great score by Carl Prusser. It's really, made for not a lot of money, but made with a lot of love. And it's not a mean look at the holiday special. It's easy to take low blows at the holiday special. This is really look at it and say, how did this really happen? And who's responsible? And have fun with it.
Well, Kyle, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We got to have you back to talk some Dungeons and Dragons real soon. Have a good one. Anne says hello, of course. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Congratulations on the film, man. Life Day. Thanks a lot, Kyle.
Guys. Be
Take
well.
care.
All the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kyle Newman, and we're so glad that he took a second. You guys know I don't like to do, I stopped doing celebrity interviews, but I'll make an exception for a buddy of mine, especially when they're doing fun stuff, right?
Someone just bought the Blu-ray.
Oh, did you? Did you just
About to get delivered Friday.
It's on its way. Ray buying it up. All right, guys, listen. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? We all know that in 2024, Marvel only has right now one movie coming out, which is, of course, Deadpool 3. But should they be looking at doing some other things as well? Maybe re-release some stuff? And that is the topic of today's Mint Mobile Hotline Question of the Day. Listen, guys, if you've got a topic or a question for the show and you'd like to hear your voice on our show, go ahead and call our Mint Mobile Hotline number anytime, 24/7. Ryan Reynolds himself has assured me that he will personally jot down in pencil your messages and, translate them to us.
Canadian can't afford a pen?
No, and times are tough. They've
Shit.
so much savings at Mint Mobile that times are tough. You guys just call us at 951-268-4259. And the topic of today's Mint Mobile Hotline is, what else could Marvel maybe consider releasing in 2024? Check it out.
Hi, this is Tyler from Tennessee. A question on Open Mic had me thinking, what if Marvel re-released the Avengers Endgame sometime in 2024? Since they only have one movie coming out, maybe it could help get some positivity back towards the brand. Thanks.
All right, Tyler, thanks a lot for calling that in. And you know what? That is a very interesting proposition. Of course, again, the context, 2024, because of all the things they've moved around, right now, Marvel has only one movie coming out, and that's Deadpool 3, and we're all excited about Deadpool 3, looking forward to watching it, all that kind of stuff. But does that then present an opportunity for Marvel? Because Marvel has another challenge. It's not so much an empty calendar in 2024. The other challenge is this. People's feelings on the MCU is at its lowest point, maybe since the inception of the MCU. For well over a decade, 11, 12, 13 years, Marvel, we've talked a lot on this show before, just put out banger after banger after banger, excellence after excellence after excellence. Everybody got excited. And so every time a new Marvel project was coming out, it was an event. Everybody was hyped. Everybody was pumped. But what happens is, as the quality level of your product starts to deteriorate and you start putting out more and more mediocrity, people's expectations lower, people's excitement level lowers. And then you put out another project that doesn't quite live up to everybody's hopes, and the expectations and excitement drops even more, and leaving us at a place right now where I think even the biggest, most hardcore of Marvel fans will acknowledge that we are currently living in a time where the overall feelings towards the MCU might be at their lowest point since the whole thing started. So I love what the viewer is kind of proposing here, because if you look at 2024, it is wide open. It might provide you with a really good opportunity to not just Endgame. Why not look at re-releasing Infinity War and Endgame? Put them both out. There's an opportunity to do that, because other than the fact that they'll make a little bit of money, I don't think either one of these will make $200 million on their re-release, but they'll make a little bit of money. But more importantly, I think it would serve as a really nice vehicle to say to the audience, hey guys, remember how good the MCU can be? Remember how excited we got watching these?
Might just make us sad.
Yeah,
Or it might just make us sad. But reminding everybody that this is still us. We are still this MCU. And, you know, a lot of these characters in these movies are still in our MCU. Some of them aren't. A lot of them still are. So that could be a really neat, like you're proposing, I like the idea. It might be a neat 1-2 punch of take advantage of your empty calendar. And number two, maybe cultivate some more positive emotions and re-elicit those feelings that people have getting a little bit more excited rolling into 2025. It might be a good opportunity to do that. And by the way, Disney, for some of you, I just saw this before we started the show. Disney has announced they're fixing one of the other mistakes they made under Bob Chapek. They are going to theatrically release Soul, Luca, and Turning Red in January and February. They're going to be short releases, but they're going to be putting those back out. So they're kind of looking at doing that, maybe doing something like that with Infinity War and Endgame. And listen, I don't think either of those will make a ton of money in a re-release, but maybe that might be enough to get Endgame that #1 all-time box office spot back away from Avatar. I don't know if it can make that much, but maybe it'll get back in that spot. Anyway, Chris, you know, you've heard the suggestion that they're putting out there, maybe with 2024 being thin for their release schedule. I mean, we all also think it's a good idea because maybe give a little bit of a break to it, give them a chance to maybe build some momentum back. But taking a couple of movies that the people loved, do you see merit in this, or what do you think might be some of the drawbacks of it?
Honestly, I'm here for a full palate cleanser.
Right.
Because I think we do have to start taking people at face value. If we've talked so much about it's not superhero fatigue, it's mediocrity fatigue. But now I'm starting to feel, no, I think a bunch of you are kind of done on superheroes right now. Because even when something pretty decent comes out, or even good, it's, well, I mean, it's no Endgame. It's no Infinity War. Of course it's not. It's not the accumulation of decades of movies. So I kind of like the idea of Deadpool, honestly, as a standalone, because what could be more of a palate cleanser than the Merc with the Mouth doing all kinds of weird shit with Disney?
Right.
So I don't think it would hurt anyone necessarily to have this come out and have a re-release. I just don't know if it's really what's needed right now.
So you're not like these coming back in theaters, doing a little bit of a marketing push. You don't think that will actually do? I mean, because I guess to your point, I mean, the reason I don't think it would make a lot of money is because everybody who would be excited about seeing Infinity War and Endgame have already seen Infinity War and Endgame many, many times.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things of, do I need to see this for a 12th time in theaters? I mean, maybe.
But there's
maybe I do.
There's a lot of people that have not seen it.
That's true.
And want to experience that.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, with the current climate, though, are those people who didn't see it the first time going to go out to the theaters and go, well, now I'm going to see it. Now that I feel it. They all let you know.
Oh,
they all called them.
I'm so glad.
He has a hotline too, I think.
Yeah. It's not about movies.
For
What's it about?
for me,
babies.
it's got to have extra footage. They probably don't have any. Like at least 10 minutes for me to get into the theater.
Didn't they do that with
They have to do it
Infinity
again.
War and Endgame, where they re-released one with like 5 extra minutes of an unused Hulk scene where Hulk was saving somebody from a building or something?
I don't know.
I remember, like, I'm not buying into that gimmick and I didn't go, but maybe,
No.
I mean, maybe if they did something like it's Infinity War plus like some behind the scenes stuff as a part of a special presentation as well, that maybe stuff that you would only be able to get if you had physical media of it, and not a ton of people buy physical media, but
This might cost Marvel more renting out theaters than it will making money, actually, right? Don't they have to rent out theaters?
no, you don't rent
No,
out
you
the
don't.
theaters.
No.
No, the theaters
The-
pay you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's a nice
The
racket.
marketing push could cost them money, though, obviously.
Yeah, doing
That's the
marketing will
risk.
cost. So the question is, if we think it could make $30 million, well, maybe we can justify doing a $5 million marketing spend to say coming back into theaters. I think it's an interesting prospect, and we'll see what they're going to do with that. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Inexplicably and still honestly to me very confusingly, they announced that there was a new Star Wars movie they were going to develop revolving around Rey. Now, again, just to be clear, not R-E-Y, not R-A-Y. I would go to that Star Wars movie
I would
all
watch
day.
the Star Wars movie.
He's got some kind of force.
The blockade.
The blockade. I hear
back.
it's perfectly legal.
We're back.
So, and listen, don't get me wrong. I very much like Daisy Ridley. And for the most part, not all of it, for the most part, I mean, I really liked Rey in Force Awakens. But, here's the thing. You guys know how I feel about The Rise of Skywalker. But that aside, I think everybody agrees. Fans of the Disney trilogy, people who are like some of it, didn't like some of it, like me, or people who hated the Disney trilogy, I think everybody agrees. It represents one of the more divisive, maybe the most divisive thing in the Star Wars fandom, at least over the last 10 years. I mean, the prequels were their own thing, but now we've got these. And I really would have thought, and we talked about this before, that moving forward, you would want, if you were Lucasfilm, to move on from that and create separation from that and let that fade into memory and move on to new Star Wars stuff rather than reignite the divisiveness, reignite the polarization of it. Or maybe they see it as an opportunity to redeem the character or things or storylines they wanted to do with a lot of the fans. Regardless, many people like myself had a healthy scoop of skepticism that this would even happen because, that's what Lucasfilm does. They announce movies that never get made. We've seen that happen a lot. A lot of projects been announced, never happened. It was like 3 years ago that they announced that Taika Waititi was doing a Star Wars movie. Still no script. So here we are. So I'll be honest with you. I didn't actually think this movie would ever happen. Well, according to reports, not only is it happening, it's happening a lot sooner than we thought, like in 4 months. This comes from some folks at CBR write the following. According to Production List, the Film and Television Industry Alliance's production tracking service, the untitled Star Wars movie, which will feature this big screen return of Daisy Ridley's Rey Skywalker, will begin shooting on April 7th in London, United Kingdom. The upcoming feature will be set 15 years after the events of 2019 Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, following Rey as she builds a new Jedi Order. Okay, couple things to dissect here. First, I want to talk about this. You know what? I don't mind what I'm hearing. Like, you already know all my apprehensions about the fact that they're even making this movie. Okay, fine. Let's put that aside for a second. The idea that it'll pick up not 5 years later, but 15 years later, that buys them some narrative distance between The Rise of Skywalker and what this new thing is. And I think having it be official that it will follow Rey as she builds a new Jedi Order, I think that's what a lot of people suspected something like this would be, but would also say to themselves, I'm probably not interested in this. I'm probably not going to like it. But if there's anything I would like them to do, it's probably building a new Jedi Order. Okay. So I as somebody who has my apprehensions about this movie even happening, I got to say I like what I'm reading. 15 years later about rebuilding a Jedi Order. I like that. Shooting in April. I mean, that, like literally just a little over 4 months from now, they start shooting. And according to some reports that have been coming out, like some legit sources, they're saying this thing is already completely cast. They've got all their leads. They expect that they're going to be making the announcements of the leads before the end of the year.
How'd they shadow produce this? I mean, I feel like we've had more information on stuff that's been canceled than this.
Yeah.
Or was all of that just the veil of the dark side? Was that the veil of the shadow of the dark side?
No, I think it's just been hiding in plain sight. Because, like, look, it's not like they just announced this movie, right? They announced this movie all the way back at Star Wars Celebration, or might even been a bit before that. So we've known this movie and theoretically, but people like me have been so convinced it's not a real thing and it wasn't going to happen that even if there was whispers and reports of going around, I wouldn't have heard it because I don't believe this is real. Well, it looks like it's real, and it looks like they're real serious about it, and it looks like it will be the next movie because we know that James Mangold is nowhere close to doing his one. We know that Taika Waititi hasn't even done a script yet. We know the Kevin Feige thing probably isn't happening at all. The Patty Jenkins thing that a lot of us were pretty excited about seems to be gone like a fart in the wind. So, I mean, this is it. I mean, we could literally be looking at this movie coming out in 2025. Which would be 7 years since the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would have guessed we wouldn't be getting another Star Wars movie to 26, 27. Anyway, Chris, you hear this report. What stands out to you? Do you like what we're hearing? Are you as surprised as I am that they're moving on this so quickly? What do you think?
Luke, you're going to find that many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. I did not believe this movie was real. I did not believe this was happening because it's one of those things of we've been burned before, right? There were all these announcements and then there were all these cancellations, or there'd be an announcement and then just absolute crickets.
That's radio silence.
Exactly. Now, if this is what they're doing, great. I am not the biggest fan of the last 3 films. I'm one of the ones who really liked Last Jedi, and I know that upsets a lot of you. I'm so sorry. It's just my opinion.
Ooh, I'm so mad.
I really, really despised Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, me too.
It did not work for me. And if it's a movie that you all like, wonderful. But I do find it odd to continue off from something that was so mixed bag for most fans. That being said, Restoring the Jedi Order, there's a lot of really interesting stuff you can do there. There is enough time between these movies, right? We set it a decade apart. That's an interesting timeline to explore and see what's happening.
Age her up a little bit.
Exactly. My big concern, though, and it's always my concern when we are focusing on these kind of core Star Wars movies, is can we please move forward from the Skywalkers?
Right.
Well, no, because she's Rey Skywalker.
Well, now she's Rey Skywalker.
Yeah.
Can we please stop making this, great expectations? I don't want everyone interconnected. I don't want it so somebody else is somebody's great aunt or anything like that. I love the idea of meeting Force users who just happen to be gifted with the Force. And I'm hoping that that's what they pivot to instead of this kind of idea of legacy. Because I think
You're going to hate that she teams up with Obi-Wan's grandson. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I
mean, if I got Mara
Obi-4.
Jade in this and like some other cool
Obi-4.
characters or Satine, I'd be really happy. But I don't like this idea of legacy and lineage that much in Star Wars because I feel like as a fantasy, because that's really what it is, right? At the end of the day, Star Wars isn't science fiction. It's fantasy dressed up as science fiction.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so I love the idea of a fantasy having that kind of idea of a found hero, of the chosen one being somebody who is just picked up from obscurity. Because then you, the viewer, as so many of us felt when we saw Luke on Tatooine, go, I could be that. That could be me. I could be somebody who is worth more than what I think.
That was the point of him staring at the twin sons.
Yeah.
That was everyone's teen angst. Like,
Yeah,
I want to get out of here.
Yes. And we felt that with Rey at the beginning of the idea of a nobody who like makes this great ascension. And the idea then that she was somebody's granddaughter, I don't know, it kind of deteriorated it all for me. So I'm hoping we can kind of reconcile some of that in a way that makes fans happy, that makes the franchise move forward, and we stop dwelling on the past. You have to let it die.
I was talking this morning before the show started with a friend of mine in the industry, and that they're like, I will bet you anything that Luke will be in the movie because they're going to member berries the hell out of this. And like, I don't know. He goes, look, I don't care what you think you've heard. I'll bet you anything they're going to have Luke's Force Ghost in it because they're going to want to member berry the hell out of this and blah, blah. And like, you know what? I never would have thought that for a second, but now that's all I'm going to be worried about between now and then.
Is that bad, though? Because we got Obi-Wan was a
Yeah.
Force Ghost, and then Qui-Gon was his Force Ghost. I'm not opposed to that. I just don't want him to all of a sudden start fighting battles for her.
But they
Yeah.
were brief and
Yeah, no,
momentary,
but-
right?
Exactly that, but not over. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't want
'cause
him like
'cause
making eggs in the morning.
Like at the end of The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker, which is so bad, they basically did a goodbye scene with Luke and Leia,
Yeah.
basically kind of saying goodbye to Rey, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Look, all I'm going to say is this. I am pessimistic. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not. But if they do a number of the things that Chris was just talking about, if you're really focusing on the challenges of raising a new Jedi Order, if you coincide that with a parallel of a reemergence of a Sith, there could be I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying there could be something that could be kind of fun in this. There are paths to victory here. I'm skeptical, but there are paths to victory. And if they can crack the code and figure out a way to do it, there's not going to be many people that'll be happier about it than me. So here's kind of hoping. But guys, April, they start shooting this thing. So it's already cast, all this kind of stuff. We should be getting some announcements in the coming weeks because the cameras are going to roll soon. And let's see how it all turns out. All right, guys, with that down, we still got to talk about the possibility that a Deadpool 3, some new images coming out, maybe making me worry a little bit that they might be making some of the same mistakes that the Marvels did. Also, the GTA 6 trailer has dropped, and it's visually phenomenal. We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick moment here and thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Quip and MasterClass. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Quip. Good health starts with good habits, and Quip makes forming good dental habits easy by delivering all of the oral care essentials that you need to care for your mouth. I've already told you guys about their incredible toothbrush that is now my favorite toothbrush I've ever owned, and their mints and gum are amazing. But now I want to tell you about their water flosser. It hits all the right spots with gentle or deep cleaning pressure at the touch of a button. And don't worry about recharging. The cordless rechargeable battery lasts up to 8 weeks with daily use, no bulky charger or dock or tangled cords. It blasts away up to 99.9% of plaque and popcorn from treated areas with precision thanks to the 360-degree rotating magnetic floss tip that snaps right into place. It's easy to control water flow that leaves you feeling squeaky clean. And the sleek and slim design, it keeps your countertops as clean as your teeth. So guys, if you go to getquip.com/Campea right now, you'll get 20% off any electric toothbrush, mint and gum dispenser, and water flosser. That's 20% off any electric toothbrush, mint and gum dispenser, water flosser at getquip.com/Campea. Spelt GETQUIP.com/Campea. Quip, the good habits company. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, MasterClass. Guys, as a small business owner, I am finding myself having to be in negotiations all the time, whether it's with new contractors, vendors, or even agencies that represent our company. Now, I don't like to go into these negotiations unarmed, so I found the perfect class on MasterClass, The Art of Negotiation by Chris Voss, a real-life former FBI lead hostage negotiator. Taking this class on MasterClass made me feel a lot more equipped and confident going into all these various negotiations I have to do on a regular basis. MasterClass makes a meaningful gift this season for you and anyone on your list, because both of you can learn from the best to become your best, from leadership to effective communication to cooking. Every instructor, thousands of online lessons, exclusive content, insight, and much more. There are over 180 classes to pick from, everything from filmmaking with Martin Scorsese all the way to cooking with the great Gordon Ramsay. In MasterClass, you will find practical lessons that you can apply to your life and work. This holiday season, give one annual membership and get one free at masterclass.com/Campea. Right now, you can get 2 memberships for the price of one at masterclass.com/Campea. masterclass.com/Campea. Offer terms apply. And thank you to our friends at Quip and MasterClass for sponsoring today's episode. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? As we were talking about 2024 and the Marvel release calendar, of course, there is only one thing coming out in theaters by Marvel in 2024, and that is Deadpool 3. Maybe my most anticipated movie of all time. Maybe not of all time, but it's certainly my most anticipated movie right now. I cannot wait. It was with great joy and glee when we found out that Deadpool 3 was finally officially coming, and we would finally get the on-screen teaming up of Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Wolverine. So much excitement. Ever since then, a lot of reports coming out about other various people. We've had like Patrick Stewart hinting that he was going to be in it. Halle Berry is most likely going to be in it. A lot of different things. But recently, there have been some more set photos and pictures that have come out. One that basically you can tell it's the Red Skull's car from First Avenger, and one that is like the van from Moon Knight, like the donut van from Moon Knight, has come out, and it's got a lot of people talking. And the basic operating theory right now that is pretty much held by most people is that all these pictures that have come out are taking place in what is known as the Void from Loki season 1. And correct me if this isn't a great for those of you who don't know what it is, it's kind of like a place where certain remnants of pruned timelines go, right? And it's this place, and it played a big part in Loki season 1 for a couple of the episodes in there, and which has only doubled down on a lot of the theory that the TVA is going to play a big part of this movie and all that kind of stuff. And as being my most anticipated movie, period, and there are a lot of people very excited about that sort of tie-in to Loki and the Void and the TVA and all that kind of stuff. However, let me throw this out there. And I say this as the one human being most excited about this movie more than anybody else. I'm a little worried. I'm a little bit worried. It's the one first time I have felt a little bit of concern for Deadpool 3. Not proclaiming doom is coming. Not Dr. Doom, I mean Doom. But rather a little bit of concern. And here's what my concern is. We just saw the Marvels make a tragic mistake. And there were a number of factors that went into the box office failure of the Marvels. But one of them I have always contended, even before the movie came out, was that there seems to be a lot of reliance in the Marvels on people having seen the Disney Plus shows, which of course many people have not. You're featuring Ms. Marvel, you're featuring Monica Rambeau, and a lot of the audience looked at it and felt like they were behind. Like, oh yeah, the trailers made it clear that you're supposed to know who these characters are already, that these characters have already begun their stories in the MCU. It's not like going in to watch the first Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time, where everybody knows this is the start of the story, so we're not behind. A lot of people did not feel that way for the Marvels. And I think that kept a lot of people away. There were other things as well, 100% there were, but I think that was one of the things that kept a lot of people away. And it was a mistake for Marvel, and I believe it is still a mistake for Marvel, to try to integrate their Disney Plus stuff as being prerequisite knowledge and understanding for what's going to be happening in the feature films. I think that's an error. I think that's a mistake. And I hate suggesting anything skeptical about Deadpool 3 because I'm dying to see this movie, but I would be lying if I didn't say I was at least a little bit concerned that Marvel may be making the same mistake in Deadpool 3 that they made with the Marvels. While most people who make shows like mine and watch shows like mine, most of us watching have probably seen Loki. But you know what? A lot of people have not seen Loki season 1 or Loki season 2. A lot of people haven't. A lot of people who go to Marvel movies have not seen the Disney Plus shows. And I'm not proclaiming doom again. I'm just saying I'm a little concerned that with all the stuff we've been seeing coming out of, the Deadpool set stuff, that there might be an over-reliance on a Disney Plus show that a lot of people won't see. That there will be elements of this Deadpool 3 movie that for you to get it, you would have had to have watched something that was on Disney Plus a couple of years ago. And if you didn't, a lot of this is just going to seem like, mumbo jumbo to you. You're not going to understand at all what's going on. Marvel needs to get out of the habit of making it required homework in order to watch a new movie. You know what I mean? And Jason just has the best idea. Man, Marvel should be bringing in Luis Michael Pena at the beginning of every MCU movie to say, okay, just to get you up to speed, and boom, and then give a 5-minute thing to set everything up, and we'd be fine. But I gotta say, while I have complete trust in Ryan Reynolds, I have complete trust in his team, my enthusiasm is not waned at all for Deadpool 3. I'm just saying I'm a little bit worried that they're making some Disney Plus show required watching in order for somebody to be able to understand what's going on in Deadpool 3. I don't know, Chris, we've seen the new images coming out. I think almost everybody agrees that's probably the Void. That's probably what we're looking at. I mean, I suppose it is possible it's going to be something else entirely, but I don't know. Am I getting worried or concerned over nothing? Is this something that you think other people would be concerned about? What do you think about
I
this?
think a lot of people are concerned, especially with it being the only film on the Marvel slate, for that year. The comparison I keep coming back to, because again, I feel that the Marvels isn't the catastrophe that everyone keeps making it out to be.
Just the box office.
The box office is
yeah.
not great, but for people who are like, that movie's a train wreck, it
no,
really
it's not.
isn't. It's a fun movie that, sure, has a few clunky moments and a few moments that I went, I don't need this, but great action sequences and fantastic characters and Aman Vellani. But what I'm more concerned about is them making the same mistakes of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This is a lot of cooks in the kitchen situation, and I don't want to have meaningless cameos. If they are just like flash in the pan little things, be very clear about it, make it that. But it's so many people in here. I mean, Elektra, I love Jennifer Garner, but for why? For why are you here?
No, you can complain about anything else you want, Chris. This one is sacred.
I don't want you to be happy. Why is she here? Why is she here? There's so many people in this that I'm not sure how stuffed this is going to be and if it's going to have any payoff, especially if this is going to be a movie that has some connective tissue to the greater MCU. Are we in the void so we can be focusing on timelines? Are we going to bring in certain characters into the timeline to move forward with the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is this our full introduction to combining the X-Men with our Disney characters, so to speak? Is Mickey Mouse going to come in and just like slap somebody and be like, you're part of our team now, bitch? Like, what's going to happen? There's a lot going on here, and I'm more concerned with all the different things that this movie may be expected to pull off. I think the biggest issue with the Marvels was the marketing of having the reliance on trying to have a connective tissue to Thanos. That was nonsense.
Was stupid.
That was
that
was outrageous.
Mad.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I felt like the marketeers thought I was a moron by doing that. Of I'm going to trick her to seeing this movie, and then whoop, there's no Thanos.
Yeah, at all.
I don't think that's great. I don't think you can treat your audience that way, because it does treat your audience like they're kind of dumb. You have to give them what they're getting at face value. You don't have to give away the entire movie, but you at least have to tell us what we're going to see somewhat. Let us know who the villain is, kind of. And this movie, if they do something similar, it's not going to be great, because I know you always tell us, like, leave your expectations at the door. If you tell me Thanos is in a movie, I feel like that's an expectation I get to bring in. You know what I mean?
I never even really thought Thanos himself would be in the movie.
No, but I heard motivation.
What those trailers clearly told us, what the clear implied message of those trailers was that Thanos's influence was in this movie.
She's an acolyte, if you will.
An acolyte.
What's her name again?
Darben.
Darben. I was going to say Darben. Darben, those trailers clearly laid out that Darben is some kind of acolyte or carrying on the work of Thanos or do something like that. And that was all just a lie to trick people into saying, oh, yeah, well, I knew Thanos. Thanos was a cool villain. Let's see what this is about. Oh, I still get mad when I think about it.
And to be fair, Marvel has always had an issue with villains.
Yes. With few exceptions, but they generally have.
For the most part, we've had, jobbers or one and dones kind of situations. So we got to get better at that part too. And that's another issue here: is who's the big bad of this? Is it just censorship? What's the big bad? I want to know.
Well, I still think a variant of Deadpool himself is going to be the villain.
If it is not sewn shut mouth Deadpool, I don't know why we're here. I will be so disappointed.
And you guys were talking about re-releasing Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
What if they attached the first trailer to those re-releases?
Yeah, you can get away with that.
Like that's the only place you could see it for like the week that they release. Maybe that they could do something like that.
Before dropping online?
If you want me in the seat of a re-release, that would be enough for me to at least be there for the first 5 minutes.
Well, listen, I think you're 100% right. You re-release Infinity War or Endgame and you say the first Deadpool trailer drops next week, but for 1 week, people going to see these re-releases will be the first exclusive people to see the first trailer for Deadpool. The problem with that, of course, is it means you've got to get Infinity War and Endgame in theaters in January or February, because I think around February is when they're going to want to drop the first Deadpool trailer. So that'll be a bit of a challenge. All right, guys. With that down, Let's move on to this, shall we? I was doing our open mic yesterday. We do open mic a couple times a week, just a casual, for those of you who haven't joined us for one of those, just a casual, just me and you guys just talking about stuff. And people started writing in. They just dropped the GTA 6 trailer. It's like, wait, that's supposed to be tomorrow. Well, it leaked. And then the folks over at, I think it's Rockstar.
Yeah.
Rockstar Games.
Said, you know what? If it's leaked, let's just put the damn thing out. And they did. They put the damn thing out. And you know, Ray was watching videos of people who were live streaming when they found out GTA.
Yep, I was watching a whole compilation of that. I actually forgot to unset my alarm for 5:55 a.m. and I woke up that early today. And I was like, I already saw the trailer. Come on. I don't. The world. Well, the world I live in stopped when this. Robert Meyer Burnett actually sent me the link because I was talking to him about. I was watching Adam Savage's unboxing of the Ecto 1. And then I text him, oh, the Ecto 1's dope. And then he replies back with the link to GTA 6. And I just dropped everything. I watched it. I don't see how this game doesn't break every record possible for video games, maybe even entertainment. The whole world for me seems to play this game. They're still on GTA 5. I still log back into GTA 5 every now and then just so I could, like, you know, blow up some cars, you know, when I'm frustrated. It's one of those stress. It's a stress ball relief for me, the GTA 5.
Well, here's the thing, though. I was actually kind of surprised, considering that the Video Game Awards are in 2 days.
Oh, right.
I was kind of surprised that they were even going to release it today. Like, I thought it would have made more sense. It kind of could have been the crown jewel of the Video Game Awards, but still, they were going to get a lot of stuff. Listen, I'll be honest with you. Other than me and John Schnepp and me sitting down with Schnepp to play some GTA 5, I've never really played it. Remember, we got a PlayStation for the office, and like, so I would sit down with Schnepp. Schnepp had never played a GTA game, and he was playing it. I would just sit down with him, but I've never really played it. So this trailer comes out, and as somebody who doesn't know a lot about the games for GTA, I gotta say, just as a piece of media, the CGI animation was stunningly beautiful, like really gorgeous. And there were at times when the main character, by the way, you can see the headlines now, GTA's gone woke. Anyway, the main character is going to be a girl this time. And at least the article I read in IGN said this is the first time that a girl's going to be the lead character of the game. And I remember the first couple of shots of her in the trailer. I'm like, wait, is that live? Actually?
Yeah, me too.
I had to do a double take. It looked absolutely beautiful. Now, look, it is the very definition, even for a movie, of a first trailer. It doesn't tell you anything. It's just a couple of wide shots. It's letting you know they're going back to Vice City. Clearly, they have to reassure everybody that there are going to be car crashes and twerking. Just don't worry, everybody. There's going to be car crashes and twerking.
Fuck yeah, same time.
And I got to say this. And everybody's going to get mad at me for saying this.
Yeah, I'm about to.
I'm not sure why they even put this trailer out. This movie doesn't come out for over a year.
Oh, you mean this game doesn't?
Sorry, this game. This game doesn't even come out for over a year.
Yeah.
Like when the trailer was ending, it was like coming. I was like, okay, coming like, you know what? Like August, October, coming 2025. I mean, so technically it could still be like almost 2 years away, depending on when in 2025 it comes out. So I'm not really sure why they felt the need to put out a trailer right now. All I'm going to say is this. Visually, it was gorgeous. I mean, it literally was Hollywood animation quality level across the board. I was really impressed with the visuals that I saw. And Ray, I know you're going to be excited to play this game. What did you think of it?
You could tell. Well, if you've ever played a GTA game, like multiplayer is one of the biggest deals with it. And what you could tell from the trailer is this city is more alive and more popping than even GTA 5, right, John? Like
yeah.
It looks like there's incidents that happen where you may not even be controller. If it's just things are happening like a real live city. It looks amazing. They have a lot of social media stuff on there. My question is, if they've been working on this game for like 10 years, then they were ahead of the game with the TikToks for real, for sure. I mean, I cannot wait. And I believe the reason why they released it this early was because there's a lot of people excited for this game. There's people that are playing GTA 5 right now.
Wouldn't they still be excited 6 months from now? If
No,
they
but
drop the trailer?
like I meant the excitement. My
yeah.
neighbors will text me. They're like, I think the GTA 6 trailer just dropped. And I would go over to their house and I would watch it. I'd be like, that's not real. It's not official. That's how highly anticipated this game is. People are looking for real trailers for the past year for this game. I don't, like I said, this game is going to make so much money. It just hurts thinking about how much money this
Chris,
game.
you had a chance to see this trailer. What did you think about it?
Yeah, the cinematics all look amazing. They look really, really great. I mean, full disclosure, these are not my games.
Aww.
My friend Andrea is obsessed with them. She has her bike for exercise mounted to a screen so she can like play as she's doing. It's incredible.
That's
it's
awesome.
the best thing ever. Yeah, the game, there's no gameplay featured, but like everything looks pretty cool. It looks really well done. And for everyone who's freaking out about a female lead here, you have been able to play women in this game in the past. Have they had personalities? No, but that's okay. So, you know, if you don't want to play as her, don't play as her. If there is that kind of woke discussion happening, I don't know. That's weird. That's silly. Just don't play as her.
I know for the longest time, people aren't getting off the multiplayer. It's always packed. I don't know,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
to this day, yeah.
So I this breaks every entertainment record ever. I think even movies, like money it makes. It's gonna break a lot of records, John. For real.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with a game, right? They're charging you $85 for a game, so it better break records. Like if you're charging like $80-something.
Well, my question is, besides me and Jonathan, are you guys gonna give it a shot?
No.
I
No,
already drive like this in real life.
You gotta let someone. You gotta have
I
someone.
live this.
This
I
is
don't
my
have to play the
day-to-day.
game.
On that hour-and-a-half commute, I am just roasting
I'm
fools.
gonna game on that hour-and-a-half commute while I'm driving. I'm gonna be gaming.
Let me clarify here.
Yeah. What's your stance on?
I'm going to be very interested to sit down with you or Ryan or whatever and hang out as you guys are playing the game. I'd like to see it, but I've never played any of this series of games, so I'm not interested in
gotta
picking
go
it
in the
up.
theater room,
but
though.
I'll be very interested in sitting like you got to come over and play it in the theater room.
If I find out the
and I'll
theater
sit down
room
and I definitely interested in watching.
doesn't have that playing for hours at a time, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
Well, my play would be boring because I'll create someone who looks like me, and I'll go to the store to buy clothes, and I'll sit there for 30 minutes, maybe an hour, just trying on different clothes.
Wait a minute. You told me that was a complaint of like Starfield and Skyrim that you get too into the thing and you don't like that.
But the multiplayer here is different than Starfield. There's no multiplayer in Starfield.
No, but Skyrim.
Isn't a
I
fake
gotta
pair
look
of shoes
good.
a fake pair of shoes?
I gotta look good while I'm blowing up other people, baby.
Words to live by, Ray.
Wish you could crip walk in this thing, man. That'd be great. Look good, crip walk on.
I'm excited. But 2025, my God, like I was telling Jonathan, we're like 2025. But I remember when House of the Dragon, they said they didn't even know they're going to do season 2, and they're just now working on it. And they said it won't come out for 2 years. We already got that first trailer. So time is scary right now because it seems like it's flying by.
Well, that's because
But I mean, that's the thing. They didn't even give you a date for 2025, right?
I know,
So
it
it
could be the
literally
end.
could be November 2025.
Right, which I think it is.
So-
I think because they usually drop near maybe the end of the year, then
All
in
right.
the middle. Yeah.
Sorry, real quick. Someone in the chat said, Chris would love pimping hoes and pushing coke in GTA. Would I?
Again,
Would I?
real life.
Live that secret
That's
life.
just a
Chris.
Tuesday. What do you think I
happens
do
in
once
23
I'm
hours
here?
of the day that she's not on the camera here?
Yeah. Just always pushing the cocaine.
It's like Will Ferrell in the good guys or the nice guys, or no, what was it?
The
The other guys.
The
The
other
other guys. Will Ferrell. Yeah.
Wait, no. Other guys, is that one?
Yeah, it's other guys.
Oh, that is other
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Okay.
Where he was the pimp in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the street, Chris's real name is Big Mama Rudy.
Ooh.
Don't ask about the Rudy part.
Don't ask. about
Don't
Rudy.
ask about the Rudy part.
All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to go over and start taking your questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick moment here and thank a couple of other sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at HelloFresh and my mobile service provider, and they should be yours, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable, and that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Say hello to a stressless holiday season with the help of HelloFresh. Skip the grocery store and save time with easy, tasty recipes delivered right to your door. Because 'tis the season for giving and gathering, and with HelloFresh, it can also be the season of saving. Actually, save money this month with fresh recipes delivered cheaper than takeout, and with pre-portioned ingredients, you'll never waste money on excess food again. You know, guys, I've often talked about that Ann and I are both working professionals, and it can be a struggle around dinner time to get healthy and delicious meals put together. But with HelloFresh, they make it easy, they make it fun, and they make it delicious. So guys, go to HelloFresh.com/Campea free and use the code Campea free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/Campea free with the code Campea free. Guys, we want to take a moment to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. Give yourself the gift of insane savings this holiday season with Mint Mobile's best wireless deal of the year. Right now, when you switch to Mint Mobile and buy any 3-month plan, you'll get another 3 months for free. That's 6 months of premium wireless service for the price of 3. And Mint Mobile lets you order and activate from home while saving tons on phone plans starting at just $15 a month. Seriously, I can't think of a better gift than turning an overpriced wireless bill into just $15 a month with Mint Mobile. I've told you guys many times, since switching to Mint Mobile, I am spending less than a third on my mobile service plan with Mint than I was on the previous big carrier who was my provider. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily and effortlessly with eSIM. So again, for a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months free by going to mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at HelloFresh and Mint Mobile for sponsoring today's episode. All right, guys, with that down, let's get over to your questions here, shall we? Chris, what are we starting off with?
From Rafael Castillo, Godzilla -1 gave us the old school killing machine, and people cared about it. It seemed to me the CGI deliberately made it look like miniatures, which I loved. Best Godzilla since the first one.
I'm not going to give it a pass on that. It did not intentionally look questionable. I mean, you just got to remember, they made the movie for $15 million, right? They could only do so much. And what they did for $15 million was incredible, really incredible. And again, it didn't make me so much care about Godzilla. They did the incredible job of making me care about those characters. And it's just a fun, special little movie. I really enjoyed it a lot. I'm glad it's having the kind of success. It made $11 million in North America on its opening weekend.
Oh, okay.
And that's normally not good, but for a movie that costs $15 million, that's insanely great. That's so good.
Need to go see it.
Anne wants to go see it. We might go see it again tonight, actually.
She made a big mistake by not coming.
All right, what's next?
From Raymond, in Variety, Pixar will screen Soul, Turning Red, and Luca in theaters. Though Pete Docter thinks people can enjoy the full impact of the film, I feel the law of diminishing returns will take effect.
I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean the law of diminishing returns?
Maybe the past couple? People, I don't know what that means. I know I haven't seen 2 of those movies.
Maybe because
Luca or Soul.
Maybe just because they're on streaming. So
yeah, I look, to be honest, I don't know how many people are going to go out to the theaters to watch them because they've had the opportunity to watch them. I'm sure it's for some of them it's been a couple of years, right? But I do know this. I am definitely going to go watch Turning Red in theaters.
I kind of want to see Soul.
Soul's a good little movie. I like Soul. I like Luca, but I got to see Turning Red in theaters. It should have won Best Animated, I think, Film of the Year at the Oscars. It's really good. But again, I don't know how many people are actually going to go do it. I just love the fact that, listen, a lot of people at Pixar and Disney Animation were really upset with the way animation was being treated like an ugly stepchild by Bob Chapek, and they're at least giving them a little something. Like it's going to be limited time window releases, but still the fact that they're getting a big screen release says a lot. And I think it's going to do a lot for morale around those animation studios.
Oh yeah. I'm going to be like Ray for Luca. I'm going to be there with a Tupperware full of pasta. Just, oof, let's go.
All right, what's next?
Gotta do Comic Jack here.
From Comic Jack, first time writing in from Singapore.
Oh,
Ooh,
thank you so much,
Singapore.
Comic Jack. Good to have you here, man. Thanks for writing in. All right, what's next?
From Future Millionaire. It's very optimistic. As a Miami native, Rockstar did a hell of a job recreating the city. They put in so many details, certain landmark and recognizable buildings and structures. This will be my first GTA purchase one day, or day one.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong,
actually
but
Vice City, but-
GTA 5 was basically in LA, right?
Yeah.
And I remember one of the things a lot of people talked
Los
about
Santos.
was how they basically just recreated Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And everybody was really, really impressed by that. And so,
Yeah.
now, is Vice City supposed to be Miami, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
it's
is it a
based off
fictional
of
city?
Miami for sure. So you're gonna
But it's a
have
fictional city.
yeah. So you'll see Vice City from part 3. You'll see like that up-res and stuff, but it's gonna be also because it's so expanded. You're gonna see Miami in there too,
I'm impressed.
and surrounding areas. So
I was impressed by what they did with Los Santos.
Los
Is that-
Santos, and part 4 was Liberty City, which is New York.
You gotta appreciate their detail, or at least they try to put in that detail where you're like, yes, this is LA. You know.
All right, what's next?
From Zach Stenbeck. Have you seen the leaked photos of Deadpool? Hugh Jackman in his Wolverine mask and Sabretooth being killed?
I mean, the Sabretooth one is probably Sabretooth. It's probably Sabretooth. It is possible, could be another character. If I had to put my money on, I'd say it's the Tyler Mane Sabretooth. So yes, I did see those again, probably another remnant of some odd timeline somewhere in the void. And so, you know, we'll see. All right, what's next?
From T Plays It Cool. Hi, John. The GTA 6 trailer gives me hope for a GTA movie or series. Your friends who made the Crank movies would be perfect. Thoughts?
I can see it as a series.
I mean, there are movies like that already that
Fast
don't
and
need to be
Furious.
called GTA.
Yeah.
Right? So you can make it, but look, here's the reality too. I think a lot of people understand if you made a GTA movie, all you're going to do is piss a lot of people off because you didn't make their favorite movie. And let's be honest too, if they make a GTA movie, it's probably not going to be any one of the games. It'll be in the spirit of GTA. It's going to be an original thing probably. And again, I don't know if that will please a lot of people. That's probably one of the reasons you haven't seen one made, I'm guessing.
GTA -1.
GTA -1. All right, what's next?
From J Loco, some support.
Thank you, J Loco.
From King Tut, who sends in a $20 super
Thank you,
chat.
King Tut.
He is the
Appreciate
king.
that, man.
Since we've been getting some really great trailers lately, can everyone remember trailers from past that had you excited, but after seeing the movie or show, you were let down drastically? For
Yes.
me, it's
Oh, sorry. I got
For
so
me-
excited I went to answer and I went to John Schott.
for me, it's Glass and Suicide Squad.
John is a disappointment. Is that what you said?
No, I had an answer and then I hit John Schott and I cut off the question.
It's like I hear that from my mom all the time.
Aw.
So, here's the thing: almost every Transformers movie. I
Those
mean,
didn't shock me though.
listen, Transformers. Say what you want about Transformers 2, 3, 4, whatever. They put out awesome trailers, and every time they would get me. It's like, oh, this one's gonna be awesome, and then I'd go to see it. Oh, that was shit. And then the next trailer come out for the next movie. Oh no, this one's gonna be awesome. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you again. And they always got me. They always got me, and they always so disappointed.
They're like, we could feed this guy anything. He eats all
Yeah,
the shit
he'll
we put
just
on the
eat this
plate.
up, and he'll just believe it every time. I know you got one, Jonathan.
Yeah, Cloud Atlas. To this day,
Yeah.
I love the Cloud Atlas trailer and how they use M83's like music in that too. They intertwine it. They made me feel like that movie was going to be far different than what it was, and then man, was I disappointed in the movie.
Yeah.
The fucking Spirit.
Oh, that's right.
Is that what it's called, Chris? Like literally?
It's called the Spirit.
Yeah.
It's called the Spirit.
That's a
But
different.
in my
movie.
heart, it's called the fucking Spirit.
All right, what's
Still
next?
mad at you, Suits Boy. Gray Fox 40 sends in some support. Thank you
Thank
so
you, Gray
much.
Fox.
Great.
Harv's K. Disney will be releasing Soul, Luca, and Turning Red in theaters early next year. I'll definitely go see them. Perfect A-list fodder.
You know, that's true. That's especially great if you have, and listen, everybody knows I have my issues with AMC theaters, but the A-list program is still the best thing out there for film fans. It's the best program out there. If you don't have an AMC near you and you say live close to a Regal also has a very good program called Unlimited. It's not quite as good as A-list, but it's very good and definitely saves a lot of money. And you're right. If you got one of those memberships, that's perfect for that. I don't think I'll be going to see Soul and Luca. I like both those films. I do. But the one I really got to see in the big screen is Turning Red.
The more I think about that movie, the more the songs play in my head again.
And literally like downloaded the soundtrack and was just playing those songs like in the car.
What were they called? Four Town?
Four Town.
Four
It makes
Town.
no sense. There's 5 of them. Like, oh God, it was so funny. All right, what's next?
From Matt Boyle, are you guys planning on seeing The Abyss tomorrow for its special release?
I was tempted to go see it, but I'm going to see -1 tomorrow.
Yeah,
I
I'm
need to go see that.
probably not. I mean, I love The Abyss. I
haven't
do.
seen it.
I watch it every once in a while. I'm probably not going to go to the theater to watch it again, though.
Is it underwater sort of?
Yes,
it is.
Yeah.
Is it all underwater?
Pretty much.
Mostly, yes.
Is it actually good?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Any
should
more
see it.
questions?
I'll
Yeah.
go see it.
Go see it.
Go see it. It's only one day only?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe a couple, but I think you'd like it, Ray.
Let me see.
All right, what's next?
From Richard Cutts, they should re-release Deadpool 1 and 2 before 3 and have Deadpool destroy the Fox logo and replace it with the Marvel Studios logo in the intro.
Again, the problem, I don't think a lot of people will go back out to watch a Deadpool 1 and 2 in a re-release. Those are great movies, but I don't think you're going to get a re-release. And with all the logistical nightmare and the money and the resources it takes to mount a release of some sorts, I don't really think it's worth it. But if they did do it, they should totally do what you just suggested if they did.
You guys try to trick me, man.
What?
It's 2 hours and 51 minutes.
Oh, I
Come
didn't
on,
remember.
I didn't
you
even
guys
remember how
trying to
long it
trick
was.
me into a movie?
The time flies by. Totally flies by. All right, what's next?
From Matt Boyle, when Shutter Island first came out, I didn't like it whatsoever. I just rewatched it for the first time yesterday, and I was totally wrong. I loved it.
It's an underrated film. But part of the problem with Shutter Island was that the marketing was awful. I thought the trailers were terrible for it. But when I did get around to watching it, it was like, this is actually pretty good. I don't think it's one of like Scorsese's best films.
I think I've seen it once in theaters.
Yeah, and I certainly don't think it's one of DiCaprio's best films, but I thought it was a truly worthy little movie. I quite enjoyed it.
I didn't see it because it was immediately spoiled for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it was, oh, well, I don't think I'm going to go sit through that then. I should watch it though.
Yeah, it's really quite good.
It's a bit of a
it's really quite
Sixth
good.
Sense kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
All right, what's next?
From Raymond, put Baby Yoda in the new Ray movie. That's money there.
Here's the funny thing. I saw people in the live chat, God bless you, who were having this debate when we were talking about the Ray story that we would much rather see a Baby Yoda story. Well, here's the problem. Baby Yoda, Grogu, is a great silent secondary character. I do not believe and as much as I love Baby Yoda, as much as anybody, you can't do a show revolving around Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda can't be your lead. But I mean, I'll watch anything that they put Baby Yoda in. And I wonder if they have any plans to bring Baby Yoda back for anything. I mean, at some point you have to explain. When the events of the Force Awakens came out, where was Grogu? Where was Baby Yoda?
They killed him.
That the only explanation is that at some point Baby Yoda dies.
Yeah. I was going to say, we don't want this movie because then you're going to see the infant you love murdered.
Yep.
Now, granted, it is a 60-year-old infant.
Yeah.
But for his species, it's nonetheless.
Lived a good life.
Yeah, he lived a good life. He had a good 60 years.
Come on, man. That's
In
average
essence,
now.
Howard Starkiller Base.
All right, what's next?
From CR, the characters in Seinfeld are terrible people.
Yep.
But I would throw away all my convictions in a second if it meant being a part of their group.
I was just telling the guys when I came. So Anne, my wife Anne, she has never seen a single episode of Seinfeld. And so about 2 weeks ago, she decided she was going to start watching them to see what it's all. Because she took me to see Seinfeld live. He was performing, and she had never seen Seinfeld. She just knew I liked Seinfeld. And she has never laughed harder at a comedy show. And so she said, all right, I'm going to start watching the show. Guys, I'm not kidding. For the last 2 weeks, she's already up to season 5, episode 2 right now. For the last 2 weeks, whenever I walk into my house, all I hear is Anne nearly choking, laughing, and crying crying, laughing at the same time. She has been nothing but a puddle of giggles since starting to watch Seinfeld. It's absolutely crazy. And yeah, they're actually four very selfish, self-centered people. That's what they are. There also some very good sides to them. They do, but man, I love watching my wife watch Seinfeld for the first time. She's just like dying every single episode. And I forgot how funny that show is. It is absolutely great. She just watched the Master of My Domain episode and she quotes it every day now. So anyway, all right, what's next?
From CR again, where do hobbits ride horses? At the Frodeo.
Got
Like
Ray.
that, Ray?
Well, you got Ray.
Yeah.
I love it. It's good.
You know what? 1 second. Let me hijack this conversation for a second.
There's no conversation.
Kaylee or Khalil in the live chat is bringing up a point. Is today, they might be right. I might be not remembering this correctly, but December 5th, is today not the day that the SAG ratification vote is supposed to be tabulated?
Yep,
Deadline.
that's why my phone keeps ringing, because Kerry Washington and Fran Drescher keep calling and telling me that I need to vote yes. I already voted this morning.
Okay.
It's
When
done.
do we get the results?
I guess tomorrow.
The
I would
question is,
assume
has
tomorrow.
Matthew Modine also been calling you?
No, there
Reminding you
was
to vote
there
no.
was a Zoom meeting last night though that I attended of a group of dissension of just, hey, here are some thoughts on what we think isn't right in this, and they were lovely and very, very amicable, because they also were like, hey, we really don't like the rhetoric that's been going around of this versus us thing. We just want to have a nice discussion. And when one person brought up to, like, anyone with a brain would look at this contract, they're like, no, we're not going to talk like that.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here to do. We're just going to talk about the actual contract and what went down and how we did this. It was a bunch of LA local board members, some national board members as well in there. And a really weird moment where next to me in my little Zoom box, there was a very famous actor next to me who I went, oh, he's here too. Okay.
Now, you guys only need 50% plus one.
Plus one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a feeling how this, actually, I went to a Kings game the other night with a member of SAG, and he was a little bit worried. Did you have a feeling how this is going to go?
I'm honestly not sure. It's very, very just split right now.
See, I would have thought a month ago, I would have thought this is going to be a foregone conclusion. Easy. This is going to pass, but maybe not.
I feel like the more we've had meetings about stuff, the more people have been incredibly off-put by the AI stuff.
Here's hoping we're not talking about this tomorrow.
So,
So I have a question though.
Yeah.
So because Matthew Modine said this doesn't negate the rest of the contract. That's all great and we approve it.
yeah.
It's just AI. So could they negotiate in good faith and keep working and just focus on the AI chapter?
Absolutely. So this is one of the things that keeps coming up is people keep saying that we would completely go back to square one.
No.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've never had a negotiation where I've done that. I haven't gone, oh, John, we agree on all of these points, but screw that. Let's start over again and see if we still agree on them, right? I would move forward on the issues that we don't agree on. People have said too, and this is true, we would have to have our board approve a strike authorization again. We would have to go through all of that. And then the MPTP would have to come back and negotiate with us again.
Yeah. But
The
just on
issue-
that chapter.
Yeah. And
But
the
no,
issue
but
has been,
here's what I'd be worried about. Here's what I'd be worried about is if, forget union and forget AMPTP. If side one goes back to side two and says, we want to change this part, I think under a lot of circumstances, side two will be, okay, you want us to give something on that, then you give us something in another area. And that
Sure.
could start the whole
and
spiral
it could
again.
become this whole big thing. And obviously how this pans out is going to also affect probably how the video game potential strike could happen too, because that's still negotiations that are going on there. So there's a lot of spinning plates and everything. The big issue that always comes up for me though is the idea of AI in this, and we've talked about this on the show before, is you have to be given consent you have to give consent to do it. You have to have ample time to give that consent. But if you could lose jobs because you don't consent to
then you're
AI
pressured
usage,
then
to
it- then-
end bullshit. 'cause
then that
you're-
then what's the
lawfully isn't
point?
consent
Yeah.
because you can't have consent without
Then you
coercion.
just-
All right,
lose the
well,
thing.
let's see how this vote turns out.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, let's get back to your questions, shall we? What's next?
From Raf, fell in love with music from the 50s and 60s because of Fallout 4.
Oh, neat.
And the trailer for the series brought me back to those moments playing the game.
You know, it's funny. I've had people tell me before, it's like they really got into a certain era of music because of the first Top Gun. Like I talked to a few people who had never seen the original Top Gun, saw Maverick, loved it, went back to Top Gun, and this
Opened
like
up 80s for 'em.
and there was like, oh, you've lost that love and feeling, and that got me listen to this and this. It's always funny that movies can do that. You can get you interested in other things that are just connected to the movie. I like that. All right, what's next?
From Christopher Brickner, the Ray movie may start filming in April, but this is Lucasfilm, so there's a high chance they'll have major problems once filming begins. Like
Oh yeah,
before.
I suspect that probably by February we'll hear that the director has left, and then by March that they're bringing in new writers. Yeah, probably.
Do we know the
Probably.
director?
We can stay hopeful.
Do we know the director?
Yes, but I cannot remember who it is. It's somebody I had never heard of before. Unfortunately.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, what's next?
From Donut Head,
Yeah.
are we just going to slip by John's OB4 joke?
I
And
laughed.
Campea.
I laughed.
I forgot I said that.
I even cut to him. at all.
Obi-Wan's like great grandson. Yeah, OB4. All right. All right, what's next?
That's pretty good.
From
You should have said it on the show.
Okay.
From Haas TV, Pixar putting Turning Red, Luca, and Soul into cinemas.
Yep,
Yes, they
and
are.
I think it's a great move. They're not going to make a ton of money from that, but just it's a great move saying to Pixar and to Disney Animation, we believe in animation. Because they just had 3 years being told we don't believe in animation. Now they're being told they matter again. I think that's the important part here. All right, what's next?
From Sean Artis, sending in a $20
Thank
check.
you, Sean,
you.
so much, man.
Art,
Appreciate
art.
that.
The visuals weren't CGI, more in-game footage, which is even better. Video games usually show trailers 2 to 5 years before release. An active development of the game started in 2018 to 2020. GTA 5 made $1 billion in just 3 days.
Oh no, it was CGI. Make no mistake. that was computer generated graphics. It was absolutely CGI. Listen, I know when I said, look, I don't understand where they're releasing a trailer a year in advance. And once I said that, there were a whole bunch of people in the live chat saying, well, the last one put out a trailer. Yeah, I get that. But I think they're trailing behind the movie industry by about 5 years in the sense that eventually the movies realized, you know what? There was no point in putting out a trailer because movies used to put out trailers like a year in advance. And then they realized, oh yeah, there's really no point in that because all we're doing is we're not creating new buzz that we wouldn't get if we put the trailer 5 months before the movie came out or before the game came out. I just wonder why, because like also when I watch the video game awards, and I watch them every year, and a lot of times they show trailers for games that have never come out. Or they put out this trailer for a game. It's like, oh, this looks so cool. Coming in 2031. It's like, so what did I just get excited for? Like, just give me something a little bit closer. But whatever, different industries. All right, what's next?
From Steppin' In. In it's Rockstar's MO, they always release a trailer well over a year before their game's release. They also always use in-engine footage for their trailers, which is impressive.
Yeah, doing that, I think is cool. I acknowledge that this is not just Rockstar. I mean, again, watch any game trailer that plays at the Game Awards. Often it's like a game that's not coming out for well over a year. I just don't understand that mentality because I don't think putting out a trailer a year in advance is going to sell one extra copy of the game. But that's the same. But again, the movie industry did that for years and years and years and years and years and years. And I think there needs to be an evolution in their approach there.
I gotta ask if the pre-orders are already out. I gotta figure that out because
Pre-orders a year in advance?
What's the point of a pre-order if you get it digitally anyway?
sometimes they give you exclusive extra stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe even sometimes they'll give you a little ticket to a beta.
That's true.
You know.
Well, I mean, it's just the advantage for them is that it gets them money now.
Well, I know that for them,
Right.
But for
Because
me,
before, back when people used to get their games in a physical format, you pre-order because there's only a certain amount of stock. Downloading, there is no
Right.
limitation to stock. You're if you want it, you're going to be able to get it. But by pre-ordering it, you offer a few little extra bags of candy, and they get money now instead of having to wait until the game comes out.
I
to
still
get
never
money.
did that because I didn't want to have to stand in line at GameStop. But
Yeah,
for
that makes sense
pre-orders.
too. All right, let's go over and take a couple of questions from our YouTube channel members. What do we got up there?
From Ulatan. Apologies if this question is a no-brainer, but I've always wondered, do background actors have to prepare to be in the background of scenes? Let's say two actors are in a restaurant scene or having a conversation in the background. Do they just improvise a conversation with no dialogue? Thanks. I learn about film every day with you all. Oh, that's great.
I mean, John, you rehearsed. You were well prepared for your movie, and
Well, I have been
Soldier Number 4. or
I have
something
been
like
an extra in 5 movies.
5 times.
5 times.
Times.
So basically, and I've been in a scene that's exactly the scenario you're explaining. I was in a movie, a background in a movie called Jumper with Hayden Christensen. They shot a bunch of it in Toronto. And one of the scenes, he walks into a London pub, and I'm one of the people at one of the tables, casually having a drink, chatting with somebody. And it was literally blah, 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 A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, blah, blah. And you're just, for us, we were just mouthing the words. We weren't making any sound. I'm sure there are people who do it more hardcore. Actually, you know what? The friend of mine who came with us to, Ann and I went to an LA Kings game the other night, and our friends Kat and Kevin came with us. Kevin is like basically a professional background guy. He's been a regular on Grey's Anatomy for years. He's like a part of the Grey's Anatomy hospital staff, but he's always background. So it's just, which is actually really smart on their part, right? So if even the background feels like this is the right hospital.
Scrubs did that same thing. You
Did
would
they?
see
They have
certain that
regular
never had a
background
line in
players?
Scrubs, but you always kind of saw them in the background.
The same people in the
it made it
background,
feel real.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So our-
certain workplace comedies do that. I was on a show called Betas for months as like the female programmer who just hung out in the back.
That's
Do
funny.
they ever become the breakout star because of their background work?
So rarely.
So
But I love how
rare.
Kevin drives a Ferrari now.
Anyway, all right, what's next?
From Dominic.
No, you can't get a Ferrari from background work.
If you work every day real hard and save your money? Dominic, do you think Joss Whedon will ever get another chance to direct a Marvel or DC film? The obvious issues aside, he made the greatest comic book movie of all time, in my opinion.
I agree. He made the greatest comic book movie of all time, and I like Age of Ultron more and more that I watch it. That being said, listen. I am a big fan of Joss Whedon's work. Okay, like make no mistake about that. I am a big fan of Joss Whedon's work. Josh has always been very nice to me the times I've had interaction. He actually gave me my favorite Avengers jacket that I have. But that being said, and again, I wasn't there for any of this, so I don't know anything firsthand, but hearing some of the stuff that we've been hearing the last couple of years is very disappointing. As a fan of Joss Whedon, has been very disappointing for me. And now Joss had a very cold relationship with Disney for a while, but in recent years, it's warmed up. Like we've seen Joss appearing on like MCU director roundtables, whereas a few years ago, that probably wouldn't have happened, but he's been doing that. He started appearing again at MCU premieres and stuff like that. I won't say never. Let's put it this way. From a pure content perspective, if I were to hear that Joss Whedon was directing another Marvel movie, from a pure content perspective, I would be quite excited about it. I very much like to see the byproduct of another Joss Whedon MCU movie, because I think he's done a great job with the stuff he did. But there are some real big hurdles in that I think there will be people that will be concerned with working with them and all that kind of stuff. So let's just say this. I would be interested in that movie, but I don't think it'll ever happen. And I think that's for some pretty understandable reasons. All right, what's next?
Here we go.
From Culture War Diplomacy, what's a movie you're in the minority of the consensus on Rotten Tomatoes that isn't even close to 50-50 that you think is worth sharing? Chinatown is mine. Didn't like it.
I'll talk about a movie I just saw, Dream Scenario. I was very, very excited about that new Nicolas Cage movie. I was super pumped. I love the premise. I love the trailer. And that movie, last time I checked, Ray, you might want to double check this, but the last time I checked, Dream Scenario had a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, dang.
Oh my God.
92.
Hold on. Sorry.
I hated this movie. I thought it was awful. Nick Cage is brilliant in it. And I love what the message, the director is basically making a lot of
Still at
allegory.
92.
It's still at 92. A lot of allegories about the natures of privacy,
70
the
down
natures of sudden fame, the nature of the social media era, the issue of the commercialization of things, the issues of cancel culture and all that kind of stuff, right? And I get all that. But part of making a movie is having something to say, which this director has some really cool things to say. But that in and of itself is not a movie. You then have to have a great way to say it, right? Look, everybody agrees kicking puppies is bad. Okay, I think we all agree. That's a great message. That's a great thing. That's great, but I can still make a boring ass movie about kicking puppies is bad. And I found I nearly pulled a Ray Aura several times in watching Dream Snare that I nearly fell asleep a couple of times.
Was it to see if Nick Cage would show up in your dreams?
And say maybe Nick Cage. And there is one joke in it that really did make me laugh my ass off. And it was a fart joke. For anybody who's seen the movie, you know the one I'm talking about. There's a fart joke in it, and it's really funny. But that was the only time I had one laugh in the movie. It was unbearably slow. Scenes that should have been about a minute and a half long to make their narrative point would take like 6 minutes. They would just meander. And then at the end of the day, because the premise of Dream Snare is there's this average schlubby guy who for some reason starts popping up in people's dreams who have never met him, don't know anything about him. He's just this guy, and people all over the world suddenly have this guy in their dream and they don't know why. So he becomes this internet celebrity because of it, right? You would think, I don't think it was unreasonable of me as an audience member going into that movie that at some point the movie would explain to me why he's popping up in everybody's dreams. Never addressed. Just, this happened. He was in everybody's dreams. Why? Don't know. That's just it. The entire premise and conceit of the movie is never actually visited. Well, that's not what the director was talking about. The director was talking about instant fame and cancel culture or something. Okay, yeah, I get that. But you sold to me the movie on this premise of this wild mystery. This guy's just popping up in people's dreams. Why did that happen? No idea. It's not important. We don't even talk about it.
That was a fear of mine because I was supposed to see it yesterday. Couldn't because work went overtime. But before you had even mentioned you didn't like it, I'm like, I hope that they do explain why. And
Nope.
They don't just,
They don't even try to explain
Yeah.
it. Never addressed. It just happens. And listen, I said this in my Out of the Theater review. I will say it again. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt because I am in the vast minority. It's got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a very good audience score. So I didn't like it, but you may. So if you were really intrigued to go see it, don't let me dissuade you. Go see it because maybe you'll love it. A lot of other people are loving it. And I'm glad other people are loving it. I wanted to love it, and I hated this movie. To me, it's one of the top 5 worst films of the year. But it's going to be one of the highest critically rated films of the year. So, it is what it is. That's the beauty of the subjectivity of film. All right, let's keep going here. Got time for just a couple more, then we're going to call it a day. What's next?
From Imperial Executioner. Hey, Epic Campea crew. I was not prepared for how good Godzilla -1 was. Excellent characters and story. Also wasn't prepared for the overwhelming power of Godzilla's blasts. What's another time where a display of power in a movie was shocking or surprising for you? Appreciate you.
I feel like every comic book movie tries to do that at some point in
It has
it.
to be Thor slamming down. Because I always knew visually, I never understood the scope, but he came down and it was just an epic moment to me. But in terms of power, I have no idea. I can't.
I mean, whether it's like even, I remember in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot, when all the soldiers come in and Groot just kills them all. And like, I mean, every superhero movie has that moment, right? They all.
Oh, sorry. I hated to cut you.
No, what were you gonna say?
Ivan Drago when he killed Apollo.
That's not a comic book movie.
He said comic book movie. I just thought a display of power.
Oh, well, okay. Maybe it wasn't a comic book movie, but yeah. So it happens a lot. But like, well, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. All right. Last question of the day. What's next?
Was it
From Simon. Just watched Wonka and had a blast. Thought it was exactly in the spirit of the presentation showed at CinemaCon. Not in my top 10 of the year, but still a great movie. When are you guys planning to watch it? Love the show and bring on the filthy.
Well, I mean, it doesn't come out here until next week, I don't think, or like the 14th.
83% right now.
Is it
Is it?
83%? Yeah.
I thought it was lower than that.
When I checked it, it was at 79.
70, yeah.
But I guess it's gone up. The first reactions were
Yeah,
very, very
83.
good for it. Listen, I've been super excited for this movie. Like, the main reason I've been excited for this movie, besides the CinemaCon presentation, is the fact that Paul King is directing it. The guy who directed Paddington and Paddington 2. To me, that's all I need to know. You put probably the best up-and-coming actor right now with Timothée Chalamet. Put him in there. I think he looks great in the role. I love what I've seen with the Oompa Loompas.
Chocolate, baby.
I'm very excited to see the movie. I'm very, very excited to see the movie. And I love hearing that it's getting such a good response. Not as good as Dream Scenario, but I'm very excited to see it nonetheless. All right. With that down, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number one, because you gave us fun and interesting things to talk about. But number two, you also support our channel as you're doing it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so much for your support. Also want to give a big shout out and thanks to my friend Kyle Newman, one of the producers on, of course, the new Disturbance in the Force, the documentary about the Star Wars holiday special, available now on Apple, Amazon, Google Play. Go watch it. And everybody in the room with me, Ray Ora.
See you later.
Jonathan Voico.
Later.
Chris Carr.
Goodbye.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.